The season right before you start something can feel like the hardest part of the whole journey. Not the work, not the building, just the decision to begin. Hi, friend. Happy Friday, and welcome to my Friday Coffee Chats. I'm Stephanie Marie, a web designer for women entrepreneurs that are living out their calling. And this is a space I'm setting aside each week to just sit with you for a few minutes. It's not a strategy session or video, and there's hardly any teaching in it. It's just a real conversation about life, faith, business, and what it actually looks like to build something meaningful. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found this little corner of my little corner of the internet. These conversations are meant to be unhurried and honest. Something you can listen to with your coffee and carry with you into your week or your weekend. And if that sounds something like you need right now, you can subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about new beginnings. Maybe it's the time of year, spring, and spring always has a way of stirring something in people, new ideas, new energy, the sense that something might be about to start. But what I've really been thinking about is the season before the start, the part no one really talks about, the internal part. The moment when you feel called to do something and you almost talk yourself out of it completely. Because that's my story. And that's kind of what I want to discuss with you today. More than 20 years, I worked in the corporate world. I built a solid career. I showed up consistently. I did the work, and I was pretty good at it. And from the outside, it looked exactly like the life I was supposed to be living. But underneath that, quietly, subtly, there was always that pull. A pull towards something more creative, more purposeful, and definitely more mine. And every time I felt it, I would immediately start talking myself out of it because the life I had made sense. It was stable, it was predictable, it was safe, it paid the bills, and I didn't have to worry about where that money was coming from. But then life changed. Good coffee. On a side note, if you ever put cinnamon in your coffee, or if you haven't, I would definitely try it. Then life changed in ways I didn't expect and definitely didn't plan for. I walked through one of the hardest seasons I've ever experienced, and I will actually share that whole entire season another time because it deserves its own space and time and own conversation. But what I can tell you is this: that season shifted everything. On the outside, it shifted my world, and on the inside, it definitely shifted me inside. The thing I had been quietly ignoring for years suddenly didn't feel like an option anymore. It felt like a door had opened, and I had run out of reasons not to walk through it. But even then, I almost didn't start because the fear doesn't wait politely for you to feel ready. If anything, it gets louder and louder. And you start asking yourself, who am I to do this? What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? And everyone sees it. I fail in front of everybody. I had all those thoughts. And to be frank, I still have those thoughts. But I started anyway. Not because the fear had disappeared, because staying where I was started to feel heavier than trying. And what I've learned since then, and what I'm still learning today, is that courage rarely shows up before the action. You do the thing afraid, and the fear loosens the grip a little bit. Then you take the next step, and it loosens a little more. The season before the start isn't a waiting room. It's what I call a preparation room. Even when you can't see it yet, something is forming you that you'll need to have to get to the other side. This is why I care deeply about the work that I do. When I sit down to design a website for women, I'm not just thinking about fonts and layouts. I'm thinking about what it took her to start. because every woman who begins something meaningful has a moment where she almost didn't. And I know that woman from the inside because I am that woman and I've been that woman. So if you're in that season right now, the one right before the start, I want you to hear this. The fear you're feeling doesn't mean you're not ready. It might mean you are. You don't have to have everything figured out to start. You just have to take the next step. You have to have that faith just to take the step. And then take the one after that and just continue taking little bitty steps. And that's all you need. That's enough. The season before the start can feel terrifying, but it can also be sacred. God is not finished with your story. I'm really glad you didn't let fear write the ending. And I'm glad I didn't either. If this has resonated with you today, I'd love to hear from you. You can leave a comment below, send me a message on Instagram, or just save this for a day that you need to be reminded. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss these coffee chats. Thank you for spending part of your Friday with me, and I hope you have an amazing day and a wonderful weekend, and blessings, friend.